Good day, Alan.
Good afternoon, Dave.
How are you, mate?
Good in yourself.
I'm good. No, we're 2 minutes early, so all those viewers, all those millions of viewers that are watching this are going to miss out on the first 2 minutes.
Okay.
Cool. Right, let's check in.
Okay. Alan checking in with Joy.
Okay, good. Checking in. I feel a bit flat, actually. So, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure that'll change as we get into it.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So, how's your week been?
My week was good. Everything running smoothly. Of course, I'm taking a little more interest downstairs in the factory. I've been basically practicing what we spoke about last week. A little more interest in what the staff are doing and how they're working, their performance. Walking around a lot more in the factory, spending a decent amount of time down there.
And
Instead of always being. Sorry?
What have you noticed? What's different?
Well, they definitely working when I come downstairs. That's for sure.
Okay.
What they do when I go back upstairs, I'm not quite sure, but of course that's recorded.
Okay. And what does it feel like when you walk around there? What's the weather like down there?
No, it's good. It's good. When the old man or the big boss is not here, they all seem to be a hell of a lot more relaxed, productive. They come in to do their work.
Okay.
So things are good. I think it's also end of the year, so they know they need to get as much product out as possible. It's a long break.
When do you go from the 16th?
Yes.
Okay. Until?
The
15th or something.
Something like that, yes.
Okay.
Either the 15th. It's 3.5 weeks or 4 weeks.
Okay. And then you were going to meet that friend of yours.
Yes, unfortunately that fell through. He couldn't make it down here. Okay. When he's ready, I do want to have the conversation. He's not. He's just a little preoccupied at the moment. But that's definitely on the list, on the cards. I'm certainly not going to wait until I see him in December. So it will be a discussion that happens as soon as I've got his attention.
Okay. All right. And what would you like to talk about today? That's a hell of a sigh.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, I'm happy where things are. I'm happy the way things are looking. I mean, I'm putting systems in place. I'm trying to get ready for next year. I've got spreadsheets that are working correctly. I can't complain the way production's going at the moment. We can, of course, we could always get more work. In saying that, I'm not quite sure how much more work we could handle, actually. There's only so many staff members, so many hours for production. What's also nice is I have spoken to customers who have got work for me going into January, which always is promising because it's nice to close the business and know that you've got work when you open the business.
Okay, so there's a pipeline.
There's a pipeline.
Lovely metaphor, huh?
Yes.
A pipeline of work.
Pipeline of work.
All
pipeline going.
All right, and who knows about the pipeline?
Who knows about the pipeline? What do you mean, customers or staff members or
whoever? I mean, if the staff know that there's a pipeline of work, what's the upside of that? And what's the downside of it?
Well, the upside of that is they probably would be grateful that they're coming back to work next year. The downside of that is they probably demand more money.
Okay, all right. So it's difficult that, huh?
Yes.
You know, when it's like, how do you get the balance right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because there's, I mean, our new unemployment figures are at about 53%, I think.
Yes. Around there.
That's a hell of a number. And when
that's crazy.
When we compare it to kind of the UK, which is at 6% or 4%, and we've got like 53%. We've gone from 31% to 53
yes.
as a result of this pandemic.
Yes, it means half the country have no work.
So that's scary for me. What does it do for you?
It saddens me. It concerns me and it saddens me.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I've got. It's crazy because I'm still open. So the positive side of my certain, what would you call them? I wouldn't say rivals, but certain companies that do similar work to me have closed down.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the after effects. I'm getting more work.
Okay, good.
But, well, in saying that, it still saddens me that these companies have closed down.
Yeah,
because it just means. Yeah.
I get it, but it's yeah. I mean, it's
all it means is there's not enough work to go around. I would rather have all of us in the perfect world, obviously, all of us generating income because we've got the work to generate the income.
Okay. But I mean, it's you guys have been around for 30 years and you want to be around for another 30 years and you've got to, you know.
We got to survive the roller coaster ride for sure.
Yeah. And if companies are going to work with you as a supplier, they need to know that the company that they're working with is a safe bet.
Yes, I mean that's suppliers are a whole different ball game. I mean that's also a rather scary part of the crash of the market because suppliers of mine have closed down. Suppliers that I've bought supplies from for the last 30 years. I've had to go and source other suppliers, and they also few and far between.
Okay. All right. Okay. So over this is our third session. The first session we spoke about succession, yeah, and you taking over from your father and what's working, what's not working. Yeah.
Yes.
Last week we spoke about the workforce and the factory and kind of communicating internally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also spoke about exploration of new markets. Yeah.
Yes.
Now this week we're talking about your suppliers, people that you're a customer to, that you
Yes.
need to have a relationship with. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let's explore that. I mean, we're getting a really nice kind of picture here, or I'm getting a nice picture of your organization, your environment, and your sector.
Okay, good.
Who are your suppliers?
Oh, I've got plenty suppliers. I've got steel suppliers. I've got powder coating suppliers. I've got your nuts and bolts and drill bit suppliers, hinges, locks, glass. What else do I? What other suppliers do I have that are majorly important? No, I think I've covered it.
Okay.
Those are basically my suppliers.
Okay. So I just want you to kind of think of your supply chain and what might break there or what needs to have some attention. And so you've got your pipeline of work coming in for next year.
Yes.
And now you've
Yes.
kind of got to look down here for the, you know, the supply chain. And I mean, you're in a complex role here. Up,
Yes.
down, left, right. It's like,
Yeah, it's definitely been the hardest time of my 10-year career in this line of business.
okay.
You know, a lot has changed in such small time, whereas it used to be consistent. Yeah, so much has changed.
Okay.
My suppliers, I have to go hunt for new suppliers because of companies that have closed down. The steel industry, the actual steel industry, which are your steel suppliers to people like me, they are totally erratic. It's so volatile there. They can't get material. They can get material at certain prices which have gone through the roof. I mean, material this year has gone up 40%. It's unheard of. You know, we're not talking about your 6 or 7% increase. And it wasn't over. You know, the year. It was over a good couple of months that they just went through. That material just went through the roof. That's it.
Okay.
And that's probably the biggest. Well, that's where I have to concentrate the most on supply, because without material, I might as well close down. So I use 5 or 6 of the biggest material suppliers in Gauteng, and I have to negotiate and compare prices between them, so I can get the best price possible for us.
Okay. And how's that going?
Well, it's going. It's what I have to do. You know, if I'm quoting customers, which I also have to explain, especially my old customers, that prices have gone through the roof, I have to send them, you know, Mattel is the monopoly of all the steel industry in this country. And if they decide to hold back and push up the price, they're entitled to. Nobody's got any say in the matter besides them. So I have to go back to customers and kind of explain, well, this is what's happened, and I have to quote accordingly. And of course, there's a lot of disgruntled customers. How can you go up this this, it's just a ripple effect, because then they say, well, they've quoted their customer at this type of price, and now you want to cut down our margins because you can only give it to me at this kind of price. I have to daily phone my suppliers when I get orders in and check what prices I can get the material, which is unheard of. I've never had to do it. I mean, at one stage, if I talk about a good 5 years ago, even, the metal industry was pretty consistent. I mean, we would have price increases for steel every 6 months. 6 months they'll have a small increase. The end of the year they'll have a small increase. Now my job's phoning the suppliers on a daily basis, because they bring in material at what ridiculous prices they do bring in material, and it changes on a daily basis. So I always have to get a new price when I quote my customer. It's a stuff up, but you do what you have to do. I still have a job, and I've got to be, like you were saying earlier about the 53% that are unemployed. I have to be extremely grateful that we're still running.
Where do you want to take the conversation now?
Well, I guess after all that negative feedback, I'm still very positive. I still believe we can survive the worst part of the pandemic. I do believe it will come to an end. And I still think we'll be here to see it come to an end. We will make target at the end of this month, which puts us in a reasonably okay seat for the holiday period. It's going to be no fireworks, but we understand that. It will just push us through until next year. So what I'm trying to say is we'll break even for the first time in a good 3 or 4 months, if not longer.
How does that feel?
No, that's why I'm a lot more relaxed than when we started our first session, because I was rather stressed out, and I was rather negative, and I wasn't sure where we were going. I wasn't sure if the work was coming in, but thank God we did. We got some decent orders to finish off the year. I've done the math, and it looks like as long as we get all the product out, we will be okay.
Okay. All right. Who else needs to hear that good news?
Who else needs to hear that good news? I believe anybody in my line of work. Everybody in my line of work. There is light at the end of the tunnel. If you can stick it out, don't expect fireworks this year. Just hold on to whatever pays the bills at the end of the day, and kind of have a new attitude and start fresh next year. Once you hit rock bottom, you can only go up. So that's my hopeful and positive outlook at the end of the day. I still believe there's promise.
Okay. How's the relationship going between you and your dad?
It's wonderful. He hasn't been in the office.
And how's that?
That's fantastic. I mean, when he does come in, he says hello, maybe looks at a few figures, chats a bit, and then off he goes. And that relationship seems fine. We'll have a little bit of a catch up, and that's great. And then off he goes, and then I can do my work.
Okay. And so how's the vibe between the two of you?
Well, I can handle. I suppose I can speak for both of us. We can handle each other in small doses, so the vibe's fine.
Okay. And how's that good for productivity?
It's great for productivity because it brings a sort of calmness to the business. He's extremely wound up. The smallest thing will get to him, and then he blows up. My staff, when he comes here, are nervous, scared, to a point of fear, because they don't know if they do something, and we're talking about the smallest thing, with him blowing up at them. So, and I mean, unfortunately, it happens with management as well. If he comes in a bad mood, and I honestly believe this, he'll pick up on the tiniest little things and just let rip with everybody.
So this is what I've really pleased that you've started to address. You know, like the team, based on emotion and somebody's behavior. Yeah. So it's like an alcoholic family. You know, they lose their sense of agency. They base their feelings on, okay, here comes dad. Oh, he's in a good mood. Oh, we can relax. Oh, he's in a bad mood. Oh shit, we got to watch ourselves. So it becomes disempowering for the team. Yeah, and it defocuses from what needs to be done. Yeah, and that's why the relationship within organizations between all the different role players is so important, like the emotional well-being. What's going on with the sound?
I don't know. There's a little bit of feedback.
Yeah, it's terrible. I wonder if it's. Let me try my headphones. I've got a horrible feeling it's you.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay on your side as well, Dave. Or maybe it is my side. I'm not.
Is that any better?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So if your and your father's relationship was leaking out, your personal relationship was leaking out into the organization, it has an expensive impact. Yeah. And these 3 weeks we've been working on like the next 30 years, how the world has changed around you, and how your and your father's relationship has needed to change. Yeah. And
yes.
And for me, like kind of 3 weeks down the road, I can sense huge change. But I might be biased. I'm looking to I want this to be a success, so I'm going to be looking at the successes. But I just want to double check with you that it is like that. So he's coming in less. Because he's coming in less, the workforce are a lot more relaxed. You and him aren't fighting as much. So I mean, it's like mum and dad fighting in a family, and the kids get freaked out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, I noticed that when I was part of the IT team at JP Morgan, the one boss at the time, people would come in, like when he was on holiday, everyone was, and there was a nice vibe, and we just got on and did it. But he would come back, and the whole team would get all kind of tense and uptight, and then they were so busy managing their anxiety that they weren't able to function doing the job.
Yes.
And and where everyone's kind of in fear and there's this command, control, tell paradigm. It's like, oh, people don't want to make a decision or think for themselves because they're waiting to be told what to do. Yeah. But when people are kind of relaxed and you kind of work it out yourselves, that's why I think it's really important to be communicating this good news. Yeah. First of all, to your father, like, Dad, I got this, in part of succession planning, to your suppliers, to your customers, and the workforce around you. Yeah? And we are going through a tough time. The market is difficult, but we're rolling with the punches.
Yes. Absolutely. It's funny. I think my father, to a point, is kind of not used to having to just roll with the punches. I don't think he's, it definitely was much easier for him a good couple of years ago. I mean, it was smooth sailing across the board, not just for my company. I'm not saying that we always hit target or we were always successful, but we were successful enough. Now there's so many external factors that have changed. I'm not too sure that, he's been able to deal with, the changes that have to be made because, it is what it is.
Well, that's really that's where the agility of an organization needs to come in, because things used to be like that, and then they started to go like that, and they started to go like that, and nowadays it's like this.
Yes.
I mean, people used to go to university and study an MBA to get ahead in the marketplace. But now to do an MBA takes 2 years. By the time you finished your MBA, the whole world's changed anyway. So you no longer have that competitive advantage. It's like you have to learn on the job every day, in the moment, and yeah. You're doing great. You really are doing great.
Thank you.
How do you think you're doing?
I think I've got a grip on things at the moment. Like I said, last week was a good week. I'm definitely more cool, calm, and collected and focused when I don't have the extra pressures, which I believe is not business related at all. It's the extra pressures of my father. I'm definitely a lot more focused. I'm a bit all over the place when he's around.
Yeah. Okay.
I think everybody is.
Okay. So let's start moving to. So there are two challenges in life. There's romance and finance. Yeah. There's like and it sounds like you've got a grip on the financial stuff. In the terms of like, I've got a business, I'm taking my role, I'm taking it forward. This is what my plans are. And on the romance side, it's like the father-son relationship, your friendships. Are you okay to talk about your personal life?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So how's all that going?
I'm loving my personal life. My personal life I can almost call perfect at the moment. There's it's not like there's things I don't want, but right now I'm covering all my needs and I couldn't be happier.
That's a nice smile there. As you said, right now I'm covering, okay. All right. Okay. So I started off the call saying that I was feeling a bit flat. Yeah.
Yes.
And for me, it's like I'm feeling a bit like, oh fuck, what's the point? What's it all about? Why am I here? I got those dogs barking in my head. Yeah. And I just want to kind of bust it.
I'm sure.
Because what I can do is I can avoid all that stuff by working, and then not getting a life.
Yes.
Which also isn't helpful.
No, I agree. There's got to be some balance. I mean, I spend 80% of my life at work, so I need some. The other 20% have got to be a bit of a personal, social, loving part of life. That has to be.
Okay. That was a very nice photograph you posted of yourself as a little boy.
Yes, my family, my two cousins from Canada, which I haven't seen forever, and me and my sister and I.
Okay. Tell me more about that. It's just nice to see that energy fill you up a bit.
Well, when that photo is when my grandparents were alive, when my family was all here in South Africa, and we used to go over for Sunday lunch or for Friday night Shabbat, and it was a table full of people, being my aunts and my uncles, my cousins, and we used to play in the garden together, and we were a family, which I haven't really, felt for a very long time, ever since things changed. I mean, my family are all over the world. I mean, it's just my immediate family that are here, which is my sister and my father and my mother. That's it.
When did things change?
It's a bit of a sad story because my first I think my uncle and my aunt decided to emigrate and go to UK. But they used to still come back quite often, I do remember, and we still used to have good old family get-togethers. But my aunt, my very, very successful aunt, she took her own life. And that's when things actually broke up. Then that was my dad's oldest sister. And then her kids, my cousins, decided to immigrate. One went to Australia, the other one went to the UK. And my dad's youngest sister took my other cousins and went to Canada. And that's when the split happened. And then, of course, my grandparents, as it happens in life, passed away.
Okay. So there was a real fracture in the family. So something that was really kind of like, I mean, when you spoke about it, like you smile, and now when you kind of like, oh, it was sad, I can like, there's a, yeah.
Yeah, it was good times. I think that's why I posted the picture.
Okay. All right.
I've never felt family life ever since. Not,
Sad, huh?
It is. I mean, my immediate family, we don't quite have the same effects, or we don't really get together like we used to when the rest of the family was around. It was a constant, ongoing, routine, or it was important seeing each other. So I don't know. That's kind of died.
So there was a lot of kind of unity and belonging and being a part of, and
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and then everybody went separate ways, which I guess is life.
What are you feeling now?
I guess mixed emotions.
You look
It's
sad.
it's good to think about the old times, but they are old times. They will never be, I'll never really experience that again. And yeah, it's also sad that times change, people grow up, people go their separate ways, and they're just memories.
How can we link this back to business?
Well, I can always speak about how the law works in business and how I disagree with the stringent components, or how it's not really based on individual behavior. It's sort of, this is the rule, this is the law, and this is how it is. Whereas I cannot accept that, because people are different. I don't believe one of my hardest workers who makes a mistake should get the same kind of treatment that one of my lazy workers gets as such, if he makes the same mistake. So I find that difficult to deal with. I don't like working that way. I also find myself in a bit of trouble because I am definitely more lenient to my guys that take the work seriously, really try their hardest, and everybody makes mistakes. I mean, obviously, if it's coming to work drunk or a major what do you want to call it? A major ruling or something, that's a different story. But when it's something like just making an innocent mistake, manufacturing something incorrect, or powder coating something incorrect, maybe the wrong color or something like that, I cannot just blame them and put down the same law as somebody who's just sort of ambling along, just waiting for his wages at the end of the week. And I do have both, unfortunately.
Okay. So what values in your organization do you guys need to kind of live around this? Like it's not black and white.
No.
Okay.
Certainly isn't black and white. Well, I stick to. It's difficult because I stick to my decisions based on productivity, based on my relationships. So yeah, there's a fine line. They are unionized, and it's funny, the ones that make the biggest noise are the ones that don't really show the passion or do the work as needed to be done.
Okay, so let's move on to passion.
Okay.
What drives the passion? Because also we haven't spoken about is industrial relations, because that's another entity that you got to kind of be aware of. Because I've seen in other organizations, they don't confront bad behavior, because one, emotionally it's quite difficult to confront someone, and
Yeah.
two, there's a fear that, oh my God, we're going to get taken to the CCMA, or we're going to upset this, we're going to be, called racist or whatever it is.
Yes.
So the organization gets crippled by its inability to confront. Yeah.
Yes.
So in your family, yeah, how did you guys confront bad behavior?
Well, I'm a hell of a lot more subtle. Definitely.
And you were bloody naughty.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
I just try to show as much respect as possible.
Okay.
I try to make it an even plane.
Okay. All right. So let's explore that.
Well, I don't know if it's right or wrong.
Okay.
I believe it's still a work in progress. Once again, unfortunately, I do have an obstacle, which is my father, because when he gets involved, I kind of have to start again.
Yeah.
Because
that I got. That's
correct.
So you're building trust. You're building relationship, and then it comes and gets shattered.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. And this is like, oh, I've got to pick up the pieces and start again. And
exactly.
Okay.
But at the same time, Dave is kind of spending less and less time here, so it is giving me more opportunity to sort of, try and experiment with the way things I would like the business to be run. I haven't really had that opportunity. So, like I said, it's a work in progress, and yes, every time there's that bump, I feel like I have to start again, especially with the trust in the relationship. So it's been difficult.
Okay.
But yeah, the last, and maybe this is why I'm feeling quite positive at the moment, the last 2 weeks, or the last week, sorry, has shown a little bit of promise. So if that promise can continue, or that progress can continue in a way I enjoy running this place, once again, the end result might be very interesting.
Sorry, I got distracted we got 2 comments here. One from David, who's in Western Australia.
Yes.
And the other is from Emma, who says we sound a lot better. Who's down in Hermanus.
Okay, yes. I know Emma well.
All right. So what are you getting out of today's call, Alan? What's our kind of a takeaway that...
Well, I definitely after the call, I feel more comfortable. I feel more positive, more motivation, more direction, more confidence. Yes, it's nice talking about it. It's nice listening to the feedback, and it keeps me in good stead.
Okay.
I love it.
So how do you improve on the shoddy workers? What needs to happen there?
Yeah, that's a damn good question. Because unfortunately, there's CCMA, there's unions, there's a shop steward, which they all go moaning to. It's a fine line and a very difficult line. which which I also believe for me is going to take a little more work on how to get around that in a positive light for the company.
Okay.
Without it getting messy.
Okay. So
which is not simple.
Okay. So let's start exploring that. Are you okay to do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I mean, if that part of the business is inefficient, yeah, we need to, it's your duty to improve that.
Yes.
Because then that's good for business, and then it's good for creating jobs and keeping people employed and for the economy. So when there's a break when there's a split, the family dies and everyone goes and emigrates, and then
Yes.
there's all that. So there's something that needs to be confronted here.
Absolutely.
Okay. Can I just get curious about your aunt that you said did you say she killed herself?
Yes.
And she was very successful.
Very successful. She worked for Liberty.
Okay. Are you okay to talk about it?
Yes, we can. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay. Because a lot of successful people, don't find happiness, and what's the fucking point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. That's. I guess that's something that I could relate to. Yeah. I mean, that's like fucking, do so much, and then what's the point at the end of the day? So I just want to park that on the side. And
okay.
I want you to there's dysfunction in this family business with the family of the employees, that you get the guys that really give it their all, and when they make a mistake you're a lot more lenient, and then there are other guys that clearly kind of taking the piss, and you need to confront.
Yes.
And for the organization to grow in that, unlike a family, you can't change your family members, but in a business you need to develop them, and if people aren't developed, then it's maybe not the right place. How's it, Roman?
100%.
Okay.
That's why I have to cover all angles, make sure it's as fair as possible, and whether there's understanding or not, I don't know.
Well, what does your shop steward say?
My shop steward, he agrees. He agrees on points that I come across, and he tries to address it himself.
Okay. Is that his job?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what a shop steward does. It's like you speak about your grievances, and then.
Yes. Basically, the men that are unhappy will address it with the shop steward, and he'll come to management and say, "This is what's happening with the men. They're not happy about this," and then we try to find a common ground, and we will also send back what we're prepared to do on our side. So he's almost mediator.
Okay.
If we don't come to a conclusion, he will stand for the men.
Okay.
And that's when the unions get involved, and the union we'll then address him with all, we'll then ask him for all his information, what's happened, yeah, I mean, it's part of the business I hate, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I'm steering you towards the part of you that you hate, because that's what needs to be done in the business.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's like, fuck, I got to confront my father and tell him his time's up and he needs to move on and the world has changed. And if he wants his legacy to survive, he's going to have to stop coming in. And as a son, that's really difficult to do that. But in my role, I have to do that. So I needed to grow up there. Yeah.
Yes.
And now it's like, okay, guys, you know, we're not like a charity organization where we employ dysfunctional people to give them work and sheltered employment. We're competing in a market that is under complete threat by outside forces like China, you know, the other parts of Africa. There's like, and we've got some work in the pipeline, so we can promise stability. However, for us to sustain and grow and to bring that security that you guys are looking for, we've got to be able to work on this together. We're like a family. Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, so I get it's hard. I really get it's hard.
Yes, it is.
Okay. However, it's got to be done. You know, it's like, you know, it's like it. Well, you know what it's like.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, I've got to at the same time put the business first. I mean, without the business, none of us have jobs, whether they understand that or not.
Okay. All right. Well, if people don't understand that, you've got a problem.
Yes, I do. Unfortunately, I have either they don't understand it or they just don't care. As long as they get their pay at the end of the week. You know, we have gone to meetings where we've said that listen, guys, if this doesn't happen, the business will close. And for some of them, it's in one ear and out the other. It's all hearsay. You know, to a point where they would only realize the business is closing once it's closed, which is ridiculous. It's too late, obviously.
Okay. So how are you going to address this?
Well, I'm going to have to put ironclad programs or systems in place, which I am working on.
But what about the other staff? What about creating a team? What about the?
Well, we have done that in a certain respect. I've got a day shift and a night shift.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, and I do. We do have the. We do. What we have done is we've split up we've split up the guys that aren't as willing, let's put it that way, with the guys that are.
Okay.
And you know, they can't get together necessarily and mess around or talk shit or whatever. You know, it's looked like that with guys that are prepared to do the work. They don't like to be shown up. So they also try to do the work. And also with the guys that are prepared to do the work, they also moan at the guys that aren't pulling their weight, which is a good thing.
Okay.
So that's what we've tried to do going forward.
Okay.
We've kind of we've mixed the teams up with really strong and maybe weak staff members together, and the same with the night shift.
Okay. And what does the shop steward say about that?
The shop steward has he's gone along with it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've also put him on night shift, so he gets to watch what night shift is doing, because we're not here and we don't have cameras at night. I'm here during the day, and I've got some really, really good and experienced staff members during the day that I can rely on and trust.
Okay. All right. So this feels like to me that this would be a good place to kind of focus on.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It's something that's it's something that it's something that I am, you know, trying to address as we speak. Try to get through the year, and you know, see if we can put it all in place from the very beginning, from next year.
Okay. All right. So as homework, I want you to think about that. Think about just some kind of like how am I going to improve the dysfunctional parts of the family system here? You know?
Right.
Yeah. How to and how to bring motivation in.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And what are you doing in terms of like a year-end party or something like that, a celebration? Or I mean, that's the one part of my business I'm terrible at. You know,
We've been really good at it. We've had a end of the year closing Christmas party every year. Unfortunately, due to circumstances, this year it won't happen.
Okay. Because?
Dave, I would say we have to, you know, we take the last 2 days off. That's not going to happen. We're also trying not to spend extra money at the moment. You know, 3.5 months in the beginning of the year really does do a lot of damage. The attitude is kind of just putting this year behind us. So unfortunately, there's not going to be any closing party. The guys are going to go home, hopefully with their leave pay and you know, hopefully with their salaries. So,
are you clicking your pen?
Sorry, yes, I was.
Yeah.
I'm writing down my homework.
Okay. All right. So just think about the consequences of not having some sort of celebration. It might not have to be the way that it was, but
yes,
just.
Okay, I'll give it some thought.
You know, in my school, when I would just used to kind of tell people, yes, they've passed or they haven't passed, and then people would say they want a certificate. And I think, why do you want a certificate? You don't need a certificate, you know. And until I kind of realized how important it was for people to kind of get a certificate, stand there and go, wow, I did it. I got a piece of, yeah. And there was something about the ceremony or the ritual of it that is important for people. Yeah. And Christmas parties and that, just having a meal together or something, like the team. I mean, I hate that shit. Just because I get like, you know, I don't want to interact and it's like awkward but it's so important for, and it doesn't have to be the, you know, what it used to be, but yeah. Family ritual. Yeah.
I actually did something very cool last year, which was the first.
Okay.
And I did exactly what you've just reminded me. It was the first time, and it was jokes and realistic. I made certificates for my staff members, and I handed them out, and they would say "Worker of the Year" or like cell phone person of the year, because we always caught him on his cell phone, you know, anyway, it was the first time they had experienced anything like that.
And how did it go down?
Sorry?
How did it go down?
It went down brilliantly. It was a really nice day.
All right. So make sure it happens this year. Something.
Okay. I'll put a star right there. All right.
I mean, it just feels like you did it last year. It had an impact. You're trying to build team, culture, family. You're trying to send out a message that's like, you know, you're going to be taking the organization forward for the next 30 years. You know, you spend 80% of your time there. You might as well have fun.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll give it. I'll see what I can come up with, even if it's just maybe a small braai or something.
Okay. Yeah. A braai, great.
Yeah, they enjoy it. I also know they enjoy it.
Okay. What time does the night shift start?
They start 5 o'clock.
All right. So maybe if you had something from 4 till 6.
Are you speaking about the end of the year?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'll bring them all in together.
Yeah.
We have done where we've separated night shift having their own little braai, but I mean then I'm not around. So I thought it would be nice if I still interact with the day shift and the night shift. So we might just take a night off and bring them all in for the day before we close.
Okay.
Yeah, they can also interact with each other instead of, being separate teams, which I also think they can all get together, have a fat chat, because they don't see each other. My day shift go at 4:15, and my night shift only come in at 5.
Okay. All right. So I'm checking out. I'm feeling a lot more upbeat. Thank you for this session. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. So did I. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm checking out. Oh, sorry. Have you finished?
Yeah. That's fine. I'm just thinking next Monday I'll be down in Cape Town. Do you still want to do next Monday?
If it's good for you.
Cool. All right. I might be training next Monday. So we might have to shift it to the evening or something.
Okay.
But maybe not. I might be able to do it from where I'm training.
Okay. That'll be great. Otherwise, we can choose another day, Dave, whichever suits you.
Okay, cool. All right, mate. So I'm checking out with Joy. How are you doing?
I'm checking out with joy. I'm motivated. I am extremely appreciative, grateful, and yes, I'm in a good space.
Bye, mate.
Thanks, Dave.
I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Ciao, bye.
Bye.